Aloha, I'm Lyla Berg, and we're here at the University of Hawaii Richardson Law School, ready to converse with the people who inform, inspire, and influence our daily lives. Thank you for joining us on Island Focus.
This is the Moot Court room, called that originally because this is where Moot Court practice takes place. The students are learning oral advocacy. Many of us, the faculty and many members of the community, judges come and help them prepare, and then they go off to national competitions, and they have a remarkable record of success. They bring back trophies.
It's very authentic.
It's very authentic, and now we have actual court hearings here. The Ninth Circuit, the Court of Appeals, sits here usually twice a year. And our Supreme Court, the Hawaii Supreme Court, has taken to sitting here in the evening, in the afternoon to evening period, because we started an evening program, and Chief Justice Reckenwald and his colleagues said we want to have the evening students have the chance to hear a real case argued right before them.
So is this open just to students, or can the public also come?
Those are open sessions, absolutely.
Interesting, and real-life cases.
Real-life cases, and our students are helping the Supreme Court as they go out into the high schools. Our students help prepare the high school students to be ready for actual cases that are heard in the high schools. We also, as I mentioned before, had a public high school one-week law camp, as we called it. And they, by the end of the week, were in this courtroom, and they conducted a very credible mock trial.
How lucky we are today to have the opportunity to speak with Tyler Kurashige, who is the Director of Programs for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
This organization means a lot to you.
It really does. I've been with the organization now for 10 years, and every single year I seem to enjoy it more, and I find something that's even more special to me about Big Brothers Big Sisters.
We were chatting a little earlier, and I was remarking about how young you look, and when you said 10 years you've been involved, there must have been something very special that drew you to Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
There was, and I think for a lot of us that look back on our lives, and again, I'm saying lives, I'm only 38 years old, but when we look back, there's usually somebody that's had a major impact, somebody that's been there through thick and thin. And the great thing about our program is that our volunteers have an opportunity to be that person for a child that's facing adversity. I think that's really a great thing about our program, and one of the reasons why it really speaks to me.
And when you say adversity, what is that characteristic?
That's a great question. We started off as a program that used to work with children from single-parent families, but now in today's world, there are a lot of different varieties of children that are facing adversity. We have children that have recently immigrated to Hawaii, children and families that have recently immigrated here. We also have children that are being bullied in school, so we have a wide variety and range of children that are just seeking out mentorship.
Do the young people find you, or is there an adult who has to refer them?
There's a lot of different methods. A lot of times, though, a parent or guardian will come to our organization and say that their child is needing and wanting support. So we'll go ahead and we'll talk to that parent, we'll talk to that child, and we'll see if there can be a good fit.
The mainstay of your organization really is volunteers.
It is. We are a volunteer-based organization. And just going back to the fact of how unique of organization we are, without our volunteers, we're really not able to make that impact in the community. One thing that I do want to share is that our volunteers are supported throughout their entire process. So whether the volunteer has had multiple years of experience working with kids, or it's their first time working with a child and they just want to do something good for their community, we professionally support them throughout the entire process.
So if someone would think about participating with your organization, how would they start?
They can check our website. That's probably the best resource. They can also, if they're on Oʻahu, call our direct line. It's 521-3811, and give us a call.
So when you talk about training or preparation, I joke sometimes that some people are no longer child-friendly the older they get, and yet some of our senior citizens are the most loving and caring and dearest people for a youngster. Do you invite seniors also to help?
Definitely. Anybody can volunteer. We even have a high school program. So we have it's called a school-based program where high schoolers are able to engage in their community, work one-to-one with a child, and be a mentor. So we work with high schoolers to be mentors, and we work with seniors to be mentors.
And if you had one message as we wrap up our conversation today, what would that be?
I would say don't be afraid. If you're thinking about volunteering, give us a call. See if it's a good fit. We professionally support people throughout their entire process, so please give us a call.
The aloha and the caring that goes along with your volunteer training, and the expectation that the children have when they come as well is something very special to you.
Definitely. Every single day we have a chance. We know that we're impacting children in our community in a very positive way. And just this morning we had a child who was speaking to our board, sharing how impactful it was to have his big brother in his life for over 2 years. And it's just such a special thing. Our president and CEO was actually our first little brother in the state of Hawaii. And it's great. It's a great reminder every day I come into the office, I have a chance to work directly with him. And it's one of those tangible results of mentoring.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to speak with you, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, Lyla. Appreciate it.
We've been chatting with Tyler Kurashige, Director of Programs for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Thank you for joining us. I have the pleasure of conversing with Dr. John Wood, who's the director with the U.S. PACCOM. U.S. PACCOM.
Good afternoon, Lyla. I'm a big fan of Ōlelo, and it's great to be on your program. And that stands for U.S. Pacific Command, which is the overarching Department of Defense Command in Hawaii at Camp Smith. So we have our headquarters at the Marine Corps base in Camp Smith, just up from Pearl Harbor.
And you're the Director of Outreach.
I am. So I am one of 8 directors that work directly for Admiral Harris. I was career Navy fighter pilot for 31 years, and as you know, the USS Carl Vinson is in port right now, a big aircraft carrier. That was my old aircraft carrier for many, many years. So I was stationed in San Diego and came through Hawaii so many times en route to the Middle East or the Pacific. And I'm so honored now to be a permanent resident of Hawaii and live in Oʻahu, Manu, and Kaneohe and be part of this community. But Pacific Outreach does outreach to the mainland, outreach to Hawaii, and outreach to our Asia friends and partners, all the way from India to the west coast of the United States, and what we say from polar bears to penguins, so from Antarctica to the North Pole. That is our area of responsibility. And I do outreach in the academic sector, the private sector, the government sector.
So your preparation as a fighter pilot, when you are at that elevation, really prepared you for this particular role that you have now?
Well, actually, it's completely different. You know, as a fighter pilot, you do pure military power off of aircraft carriers. And what I did was I was able in my military career to get a PhD in international relations. Now I'm using that. We call it kind of soft power, working energy projects, humanitarian assistance, a great relationship with the University of Hawaii and East-West Center and CSIS Pacific Forum here in Hawaii, outreach to academic institutions in Asia to tell what the Department of Defense is doing and how we help bring peace and security to the region.
So you work in partnership with not only countries, but the organizations within countries.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love my relationship that I get to do in Hawaii. Again, with our Hawaiian delegation to Congress, I work with them all the time to make sure Hawaii and the Department of Defense interests and equities are well represented in Congress. I work with Major General Joe Logan here, the Adjutant General of Hawaii, and the Governor's Office on Emergency Response, all the different universities in Hawaii and local community groups help coordinate the Department of Defense and the military team in the community.
So I get you love your job.
Terrific.
What's the greatest pleasure within that job?
It's about the connections. It's coming on this show. It is. I did a really interesting project with Hawaiian Electric where we studied how to make the grid better to not only better for the Department of Defense, but for local Hawaiians. That project was so successful, it was a public-private partnership, that I've expanded that, and now I'm helping the Philippines, Thailand, and Indonesia and their grids based upon Hawaii's model. So that brought me a lot of joy, really, that I could do something for the community of Hawaii and for our friends and partners in Asia.
Well, it's very reassuring to know that not only is the United States government and the military involved with us, but that you are also lending your aloha to everyone you meet.
Well, thank you. It's just, again, it's terrific to be here in Hawaii. I love it, and I don't plan to leave.
Thank you very much for spending some time with us.
It's been terrific. Thank you, Lyla.
We're conversing with Dr. John Wood, Director at US PACCOM. Thank you for joining us. Today on Island Focus, I have the pleasure of speaking with Daria Gotoh of RICO. RICO.
Yes.
Help us understand what that is.
Regulated Industries Complaints Office. So we're a division of the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, and we have oversight and we regulate anybody with a professional or vocational license in the state.
And you handle a lot of situations, not always positive.
Yes, a lot of different kinds of licensees, so anywhere from contractors and electricians to licensed real estate brokers, mixed martial arts, massage therapy, all the healthcare professions.
And what is your specific role there?
I am the Complaints and Enforcement Officer, which is quite the job title to have. But I basically oversee the office. I started as a staff attorney many years ago, was the supervising attorney for many years, and now serve in an administration role with the office.
So when someone has a concern,
right,
you help them navigate through the system?
You know, we do. We take information and we assist consumers if they want to report conduct to us or if they want to file a complaint with our office. We get about 7,000 inquiries each year.
Wow.
People who call the office are able to speak with an intake investigator about what their concerns are. If it shouldn't be with our office or if our office doesn't have jurisdiction, our intake unit is excellent at helping people get to the right place.
And I'm sure, knowing you as I do, that the success rate or the success stories that you might hear are very reassuring that your staff is working the best they can.
It is a tremendously difficult job. We see conduct ranging from a mechanic who doesn't give a written estimate before starting work on the car to allegations of sexual assault by a healthcare professional. So the stories that our staff see, they're very difficult to try to work through. But our office is excellent. The people that I work with are amazing and so dedicated to the job. It really makes what a very difficult job much easier to do.
You know, in addition to your job description, I know you have a mission there.
Yes. So our mission is really to enforce the licensing laws. We also investigate and prosecute unlicensed activity. So mostly in the area of unlicensed contracting, but we've also seen unlicensed activity in the healthcare professions, people who maybe come to the state and may be licensed in another state and haven't quite gotten around to getting a license in Hawaii yet. So we also do the enforcement of the unlicensed piece as well.
What makes it so meaningful for you to work there?
You know, I really have to say what motivates me, and I've been doing this for a long time. You know, I am really so dedicated to the RICO mission. A lot of what we really want to do is educate consumers. We want to help them to get the information that they need, check a license, call our office, make sure the person that you're going to be dealing with is licensed and appropriately licensed. There's a lot of good consumer information that we want to get to people before they have to file a complaint with us. And it is so rewarding when people will say, I read your brochure, you know, I want to report that I didn't give the person who knocked on my door and said I could repair your roof $5,000 in cash. It's those kinds of stories that make what we do really very rewarding.
And it sounds also that you are really intent on empowering our community and individuals with information so that they also know that there's a way to take care of themselves?
There's a lot of information that we provide on the RICO website. You know, our supervisors are so committed, they will, on their own time, go talk to any community group that wants to hear from us, whether it's a senior group or a group of consumers who are interested in remodeling their homes. We're happy to provide them with that information.
Well, and we're very happy and grateful that you took the time to be with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been chatting with Ō'lelo Gotoh from RICO. Thank you for joining us, and thank you again. I'm here with Jim Howe of the Honolulu Emergency Services, and I'm glad you are with us also.
Thank you for inviting me.
So Emergency Services, what does that entail?
So it's one of our 3 public safety departments here on the island. So we have our police department, our fire department, and then Emergency Services is the provider for EMS, the ambulance service, and for all of the ocean safety services here on the island.
So waterland, kind of an amphibian.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. We have about 550 folks, 24/7 with the ambulance. It's all of the medical and ocean rescue emergencies that happen that we are responsible for responding to.
And you've been in this role quite a while.
Well, in this particular role for about 4 months, but I was with the Ocean Safety Division since 1981. I started as a beach lifeguard working at Waimea Bay and worked my way through the system and did retire in 2015 after 34 years. But I was asked to come back, and I rejoined the city with Mayor Caldwell, and I'm really appreciative of the opportunity to be back and continue my service to the community.
With so much drama that is involved with emergency services and critical situations, how do you stay healthy?
Oh, I work at it.
I'm sure, because emotionally it's very stressful.
Yeah. Actually, I don't feel a whole lot of stress. I do a lot of physical activity. I have my wife of 37 years has been there with me the whole way. So I have a very solid family background, my children, and I just do my best every day. And beyond that, I just can't do any more than that. I really feel it's important to support the folks that are out in the field. They're the ones really doing the work and feeling the stress. And my job is to make it as comfortable or as least difficult as possible.
Coordinating these 3 entities
Yes.
is part of your responsibility.
Well, I have emergency management responsibilities. So, for instance, the hurricanes and the tsunamis that hit the island, we're very much a part of that. We also have the responsibility for any kind of a nuclear or biological attack on the island here. So that's another part of our mission, is to make sure that we're prepared and that we're ready in the event of some kind of either a war type act or a terrorism type act.
And how do you interface then with the state?
Well, the EMS program is funded by the state, and we're a contractor to the state to provide the primary field hospital services, and that's how we interface with the state. We're completely budgeted by them.
And the Civil Defense Department, run by the state, is also probably quite reliant on your services.
All of our public safety services are tremendously interdependent on each other. We live on an island. We have to work with each other and rely on each other at the state and the county and federal levels. It's just us here. We don't have a lot of other folks we can call on if we need help.
But you find that as a success?
Well, I'm just a kid that grew up in Waikiki, honestly. I learned to surf at a very young age and just loved the ocean. I went to work at the Hilton Hawaiian Village as a beach boy, and I was very fortunate that I was able to join the lifeguard service in 1981. I started at Waimea Bay. I was a big wave surfer, and I just have found that this is a way that all the skills that I've learned in being in the ocean in all the many different ways I've done, that I'm able to give that back to our community here and to the millions of visitors who come. And it's been very, very, very rewarding. I just feel blessed.
Well, we're blessed to have you on our program. Thank you very much for sharing. It seems like you're still riding the big waves.
Yeah,
metaphorically.
Metaphorically and really I am.
Oh, good.
I really do. I surf a lot still.
Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We've been chatting with Jim Howe with the Honolulu Emergency Services. Thank you for joining us as well.
So this is our Pacific Island collection. So this is one of those spaces I told you about that we carved out after the renovation. And our library director felt that this was a very important space to create because our law school's mission statement recognizes that we have a special relationship with the indigenous people of Hawaii as well as the Pacific Island nations. So these materials here behind us used to be housed in the main general collection. So it's a little bit more difficult to find. So we pulled them all out and we have them arranged alphabetical order by the island nation, with the beginning part being more a collection of those books that talk about the area in a more general nature or about multiple islands.
I love that there's this dedicated area.
And so do our students who come to us from these indigenous islands, indigenous nations.
Well, you've talked about a sense of place, and definitely this is one of those corners that gives us a sense of place. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
With us today on Island Focus is Ku'ipo Kumakahi. And you have a wonderful project. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, Lyla, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I want to say that the project that we're working on, well, I have to say we. So it's a collaboration between the Hawaii Music Hall of Fame and the Hyatt Regency Waikiki Beach Resort and Spa. The Hyatt has decided to become the home of the Hawaii Music Hall of Fame in an interim, I would like to say, of eventually becoming a part of a greater museum. But hopefully this can be a long-lasting relationship.
So the Hyatt is the current location.
Current location.
But the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame, that's awesome.
Well, it is wonderful because it reflects and it celebrates all of these individuals who actually shaped Hawaii through their performance in Hawaiian music, their compositions, and more. As you may know that, our music is what tells of who we are as a people. Everything is in the mele, whether it's ancient or whether it's modern mele, but contained in the Hawaiian language and all of that poetry talks about who we are.
How does one become part of the Hall of Fame?
They do have a membership program. They also have shows annually. They do a series of 3 events called Na Mele Mai Ole, or the Never Fading Songs. That usually occurs in October, and it goes for every 3 months until it leads up to the culmination and the celebration of the previous year's inductees, which happens on every May 1st. And so we've already done 2 years at the Hyatt Regency Ballrooms, and we're very happy because the Hyatt Regency Waikiki has been a good partner with the Hawaii Music Hall of Fame. It's been a good collaboration between 2 entities.
And who have been the inductees?
We started off actually in 1994, I believe, that the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame's first inductees started with our 4 Nalani Eha, or the 4 Royals. They were there called the patrons of the Hawaiian music, and as you know, they were all songwriters.
Yes.
And I had the great pleasure in 2007 to do a recording for them, and that went from Queen Liliuokalani's music to Nalani Eha.
Wow.
To do songs of the 4 Royals. And to do 10 to 12 songs is just such a small piece of all the work that they've done. It's huge. So 2008, this album was finally out and went to the Hoku Awards and won Album of the Year, as well as Graphics of the Year. I'm very proud to do that, but in doing so, the president at the time, along with the rest of us who did the music, discovered that it was Hawaiian leadership to be able to, or to be skilled in the fine arts, especially in poetry. So it was very eye-opening as to what our kupuna have done, or how skilled they were.
And how educated, if you would say,
Yes.
in many different areas.
And when they commit all that information into the mele, they're encasing information about environment, people, relationships, and metaphorically and directly, and it is amazing. It's unending. No one can spend within a lifetime to know all of this, because it is so vast.
Well, and no wonder you're so enthusiastic about this, because the more you work with this project, and the more you learn, the more you can see how brilliant
Work, brilliant minds, and what I enjoy a lot as I'm getting younger, older, is the fact that when as a musician myself, I understand that to be able to continue to sing their songs is you keep putting breath into their work, and that keeps that truly alive. You keep it moving. It's like continuously watering the plant so the plant can grow.
Well, you've
Beautiful.
given breath to our program, and I want to
thank you.
thank you for taking the time to be here with us.
Thank you, Lyla. Thank you very much.
And our viewing audience, Island Focus, we've been chatting with Kuʻiʻipo Kumakahi with the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame.
Mahalo.
Mahalo to the University of Hawaii Richardson Law School for hosting us, and to you for tuning in to Island Focus. I'm Lyla Berg. Aloha and malama pono. Take care of each other. See you soon.